I can hear it already. Will, why the heck do they deserve kudos for a measly sub 500 record? Well, I'm glad you asked. The Gophers have wins over number 22 Indiana, number 19 Iowa, number 10 Michigan State, and likely NCAA tournament team UCLA. Compare those programs' NIL budgets to the Gophers is like comparing filet mignon to cauliflower. Watch one Gophers game and it has been a spooky start to the season for the Wild, and not in a good way. In fact, the Wild's 3-6-3 record in the month of October was the worst in franchise history. Entering tonight's game against Vancouver on a 5-game skid, just one win in their last 9. Still winless during this current 6-game homestand ahead of tonight's game against Vancouver. Now, a big key to the poor start, the play in between the pipes. The Wild have allowed 47 goals so far this season. That is the second most in the National Hockey League. Fans hoping a new month that centers on gratitude would finally give them something to be thankful for starting tonight against Vancouver. That was perfect, Juju. Bravo. Well done. All right, Will's word for this week is wait. As a verb, Webster's defines wait as to hold something down by placing a heavy object on top of it. That's the word I felt when listening to J.J. McCarthy earlier this week when he met with us media members. Take a listen. Today was a 22-year-old's 5th start of his career. We live in a microwave society. We want things now, right now. It's darn near impossible to have a crock-pot, patient mindset. There's a lot of weight on the 22-year-old's shoulders right now. And now we find out just how long this fan base and ownership group can wait. Last night, Hughes recorded at least 3 assists in a game for the 5th time since being traded to the Wild. That ties Ryan Suter for the Wild team record for a defenseman to record at least 3 assists in a game. That happened 5 such times. However, this is where we need some perspective. For Suter, it took him 9 seasons to accomplish that feat. For Hughes, just 25 games.
And the Lynx absolutely dominated Phoenix, winning by nearly 40 points. Will Hall is here to break it all down for us. Will?
Yeah, guys, I'm not sure who had a bigger blowout last night, the Lynx or my son. I'm kidding. The Lynx' 34-point margin of win was their 7th largest in franchise history. Well, if Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings want to salvage a split across the pond, objective number 1 on Sunday is slowing down this guy, Browns defensive end Myles Garrett. He leads the National Football League with 8 tackles for loss so far this season. Very concerning when you consider the Vikings will be without Ryan Kelly, Donovan Jackson, and Brian O'Neill up front on Sunday. But it gets worse. Michael Jerkins, who started in replacement of Kelly last Sunday, he's out this Sunday with a hamstring injury. That means Blake Brandel moves over to center. An undrafted free agent, Joe Huber, who was playing in Madison just 1 year ago, will make his first NFL start on Sunday.
He will check in at the first opportunity.
Well, after missing the previous 6 games due to knee pain, Anthony Edwards returned to the Wolves starting lineup last night. Except Ant wasn't there for tip-off. Ant, where'd you go?
What happened at the start of the game with him?
I mean, nature calls, you know, so.
What happened to you for the first minute of the game?
I was taking a
Oh.
yeah.
Despite the potty break, Ant finished with 17 points on 7 of 13 shooting in his return to the lineup. Now, I have to give Ant some grace here. All right, this is my son Grady last week. After unloading mid-doctor appointment just last week. As Grady and Ant would say, hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go. 24 hours later, and I still cannot believe what the Dallas Mavericks did last night. Dallas sending their superstar, Luka Doncic, to the Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis. Absolutely insane. Speaking of unbelievable things, last night at the Target Center, the Washington Wizards, owners of the worst record in the NBA, knocked off the Wolves, snapping the Wolves' 5-game winning streak. Meanwhile, the Wizards snapping their 16-game losing streak, just their 2nd road win all season. Now, to be fair, the Wolves, they were shorthanded last night. Anthony Edwards out with an illness. Also, Julius Randle, another starter dealing with that groin strain. He was out. Here's point guard Mike Conley talking about the roster shuffling. I was talking with our star producer Ryan Williamson and ace photog JT Messenger this afternoon. They brought up a great point. It's amazing what the preseason expectations were versus the current reality for the Vikings offensive line. If we are comparing this situation to food, preseason expectations were a ribeye, sweet potato, and some apple pie for dessert. Current reality is canned tuna, some goldfish, and some jelly beans. Minneapolis area running backs have fared quite well at Iowa State over the years. The future represented by current Minnetonka senior Caleb Francois. He'll join the program next fall as a freshman. The past represented by former De La Salle star Alexander Robinson. A-Rob ranks 5th most all-time in rushing yards in Ames in a career. As for the present, that's occupied by Lakeville native Carson Hansen. Chris, there's fire sales, and then there's what the Twins did in the last week. They basically took a flamethrower to their active roster. Take a look over here. The Twins have dealt 10 of their 26 players on their active roster. Nearly 40% gone in the last week. All the players that you see here no longer members of the Minnesota Twins. It's a trade deadline Twins fans have never seen before. What a summer Saturday of sports in the Twin Cities. Cheryl Reeve and the Lynx facing Chicago today. A pair of soccer matches here this evening. Eric Ramsey and Minnesota United hosting San Jose. Over in Eagan, the Aurora hosting a USLW League semifinal tonight. The busy day continues out west. First rounder Yohan Beranger and the Wolves playing their second game of NBA Summer League play tonight, but we start out with a historic day on the diamond. Byron Buxton managed to do something today that had previously never been done before in Target Field history. The Wild need Kirill Kaprizov back in the worst way. The team's leading scorer has missed the last 11 games, dealing with that tricky lower body injury. But it's not just Kirill. You go back to the blue line, you have Captain Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin, both out with injury as well. That lack of production, depth, and experience on the blue line, it was exposed last night in the team's latest loss on Broadway. Predators taking down the Wild 6-2 the final. The team's third consecutive loss. Here's Wild head coach John Hines with more on the team's struggles. Minnesota seeking a 4th consecutive Big Ten win for the first time since 2017, and things were going fantastic in Iowa City in the first half for the Maroon and Gold. Dawson Garcia with 18 points to help give Minnesota a 51-38 lead at halftime, and then things would unravel in the second half. Mike Mitchell Jr., one of 5 in double figures with 17 today. This corner 3 right here gave Minnesota a 20-point lead in the second half, only to see that lead disappear like those crumble cookies at your Super Bowl parties. Iowa. What more can you say about Sam Darnold? Onions, cojones, moxie, whatever it is, Sam Darnold has it. And it is a quarterback meeting the moment, needing a response after Seattle's go-ahead touchdown, not to mention facing a raucous crowd and a team fighting for their playoff lives. Darnold stepped up big time on a gimpy ankle, no less. A telling stat of how this season has gone, Darnold ties Peyton Manning and Steve McNair for the most wins in their first season with a new team in the NFL in the last 40 years.
Wow.
Backs against the wall. When your team has to have it, Darnold providing yet another defining moment and throw in a special season for the purple and gold. All right, Vikings offense, like Bill Withers would say, lean on me when you're not strong. Okay, I'll stop embarrassing myself. That was pretty bad. And I'll be your friend, and I'll help you carry on. The Vikings defense helped the offense carry on. Outside of Parker Romo, more on him in a minute. No one played a bigger role in the road win today than the Vikings defense. Down at halftime for a second week in a row, Brian Flores' unit turned up the pressure in the second half. The unit held Jacksonville's offense to just 143 yards of offense today, making Mac and Cheese Jones look like a bad batch of Velveeta. The purple and gold defense, I'm hungry, finished with 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, and 3 fourth-quarter turnovers to help blow out the candles.
We're on defense. We got to put the fire out. So had a lot